What if I told you there was a force so powerful it changed the world forever and you never even knew about it? Sounds like a crazy idea, right? Well, that thing is electricity. Yep, the same power that lights up your phone, powers your games, and keeps your fridge cool. It's been a silent force building our reality, and you might be surprised at just how much. Electricity came from a bunch of wild ideas and tinkering by some seriously smart people. It didn't just appear one day like magic. This story starts with Ben Franklin, a dude who loved a good mystery. He once famously flew a kite in a thunderstorm, the whole be careful what you wish for kind of story. But he wasn't just looking for trouble, he was hunting answers. During one of those stormy days, he saw a connection between lightning and electricity. His experiment showed that lightning was actually electric, shaking up how folks thought about both. Now, this wasn't like flipping a switch and turning on a light bulb, not by a long shot. Back then, electricity was more like a wild, unpredictable force, not something you could control or count on. It took a while, but scientists and inventors started to tame it, turning it into something we could use. They discovered that when you combine certain materials like copper and zinc with stuff like salt water, you get a flow of electricity. This became the first battery. Think of it like a little box of chemical energy. Then came the big breakthrough. Alessandro Volta, an Italian physicist, stacked up disks of zinc and copper, and voila, he created the first electric battery. Now, he didn't realize it at the time, but he had just kicked off a chain reaction that would change everything. Fast forward a bit, and we meet Thomas Edison. This guy was a prolific inventor. He's the one who gave us things like the motion picture camera, and yes, the light bulb. But let's be real. His most legendary invention might have been the electric grid. It was a network that could deliver electricity to tons of places at once. Before this, electricity was kind of like a novelty, something cool to show off at parties, but not something you could really depend on. But Edison changed all that. On September 4th, 1882, he lit up 80 light bulbs across 22 miles, proving that electricity could power entire cities. The crowd went wild. This wasn't just about bright lights, it was about possibilities. People saw how electricity could transform lives, making work easier, homes safer, and entertainment more magical. But it wasn't a smooth ride. There were lots of challenges getting electricity from point A to point B, C. Electricity needs to be delivered at the right voltage. Too high, and you risk shocks or fires. Too low, and your gadgets just don't work. Plus, you need to make sure it gets to where it's supposed to go without causing chaos along the way. Enter Nikola Tesla, a genius who was all about innovation. He's the reason we have alternating current, or AC. It's basically the type of electricity that powers most of our stuff today. But here's where things get interesting. Tesla and Edison had a bit of a rivalry. They each thought their type of electricity was the best. Edison liked direct current, or DC, which worked well for smaller things. But Tesla was pushing for a C, which could travel much farther and was safer. Their showdown was epic, like a tech-fueled battle of the titans. To prove a C's worth, Tesla famously sent an electrical current through a giant coil, creating a dazzling display of sparks. It earned him a spot in the history books and a place in popular culture. Even today, we talk about someone being lit because of the electricity flowing through them. Thanks to Tesla's wild experiments. The fight over electricity wasn't just about which type was better. It's about who controlled it. Early on, lots of companies were delivering electricity, but eventually big players like General Electric and Westinghouse Electric emerged. These companies had tons of money, giving them the power to shape how cities looked and operated. For example, GE spent millions building massive power stations. These stations could generate huge amounts of electricity, helping cities grow and change. They also started buying up smaller companies, making the electricity business more centralized. It was a win-win, right? Well, maybe for some. These big companies made electricity more reliable, but they also started controlling how people used it. They introduced something called tiered pricing. Basically, the more electricity you use, the higher the price per unit goes up. This meant that people and businesses had to be careful about how much power they used. If you wanted to run a bunch of machines or air conditioners, you had to pay up. It's a system we still use today, though some places are experimenting with ways to make it fairer. As electricity spread, it didn't just power homes and businesses, it sparked revolutions. Take the world of communication. Before electricity, Sending a message across the country could take days. But with telegraph lines humming with electric signals, messages zipped through at the speed of light. Alexander Graham Bell wouldn't have been able to create the telephone if not for electricity. And the internet, well, it's basically a digital highway powered by electricity. Every click, every search, every video you watch is made possible by electric currents coursing through wires and cables. And don't forget about entertainment. Ever since electricity illuminated our screens, our idea of fun has changed. As movie theaters, arcades, game consoles, streaming services, they've all been made possible by electricity. Remember those old record players? Well, electricity gave us something even cooler. Compact music players like iPods and, well, let's be honest, smartphones. They're not just for listening to tunes anymore. They're tiny computers that fit in your pocket. They help us stay connected, find info, play games, and capture memories. And none of that would be possible without electricity. But wait, there's more. How about healthcare? Electricity revolutionized the way we heal and help people. Think about X-ray machines, MRI scanners, and pacemakers. These devices help doctors see inside the body and keep tabs on our health. They've saved countless lives and made surgeries less scary. And then there's transportation. Trains, subways, and trams, they've become the backbone of many cities. Electricity made it possible for us to zip around without relying on roads. And don't forget about electric vehicles. They're growing in popularity because they're eco-friendly and way quieter. Imagine living in a world where you couldn't travel without the hum of electric motors. It's hard to imagine modern life without electricity, isn't it? It's like oxygen for our world. I need it to breathe. But remember, this stuff didn't just pop into existence. It was the result of people asking questions, tinkering, and working together. It's a testament to what we can do when we put our minds to it. And guess what? The story doesn't end there. We're still plugging into new discoveries. Electrical grids are getting smarter, helping us use energy more efficiently. Plus, we're tapping into sources like solar and wind to make electricity cleaner. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll invent something that changes the world, and all because you dared to ask, what if? So the next time you reach for that light switch, think about the journey electricity went through to get to your fingertips. It's a story of curiosity, teamwork, and progress. It's a reminder that even the things we take for granted are often the result of incredible effort. Ben Franklin chasing storms, Alessandro Volta stacking up disks, and Nikola Tesla sparking wonders, they all played parts in wiring up our world. And you know what? You're part of that story too. Every time you use electricity, you're keeping that spark alive. Hey, did you know that electricity isn't the only thing that's transformed our world? Check out this video where we explore how the internet has changed everything from how we work to how we connect with others. Click here to watch now.